So I talk a lot about failure, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about success and things that are going well. And this is related to me doing a keynote at health.tech in Basel, Switzerland in March. And I have 103 days left to prep for that discussion. So I've been recording like 15-minute videos going through my speaker prep, how I'm doing talk tracks, how I do storytelling, as well as like my workshop planning. And I've rehearsed it a decent amount over the last 15 days or so. The intro starting to come together, the talk's taking shape. And one of the areas that I want to meditate on with you right now, and also with myself because I listen to these videos to rehearse, is actually celebrating wins. Because for those of you who don't know, like my family's navigated 12 relocations in 1 year to get to Japan, a 13th relocation to stay in Japan during a messy exit from Johnson & Johnson to continue life there. And then after 7 months, we hit zero in a foreign country with 4 kids. And within 20 days, was able to get our whole life packed out, relocate to Chicago, crash landed with the in-laws, and for a year slogged through the messy middle of entrepreneurship, trying to get established. My wife working part-time as a tax assessor. I ended up picking up third shift at Amazon, so I'm like almost 6 months into that. Been landing clients, landing speaking gigs, businesses picking up, but like lots of failures. We hit zero 3 times in 2 countries total. And what I want to spend a little bit of time reflecting on right now is the wins, because when you're doing storytelling, if you find yourself in a position of success, which is great, and I'm on the cusp of it in many categories, not all. If you look at my bank account, not bank account yet, we're close. But if you're in a position of success trying to tell a story, if you speak from that pedestal, it is incredibly difficult for people to relate with you and connect. Now, this is something I navigate a lot within my community on a platform called School. I have like 200 plus people in there, or even connecting with people at Amazon who are just in different circumstances, no higher education. Some have past substance abuse issues and challenges. Like, you just see people are stuck. And then I'm sitting here with like an undergrad in mechanical engineering, a master's in global leadership, a decade of surgical robotics R&D and global leadership experience, 2.5 years in a foreign country. Like, in order to be accessible with those successes, it's really important to be able to find your route back to a humble origin point, like a vector. If you like Despicable Me, vector has a direction and magnitude. Oh yeah, that's my beautiful reference. And you want to help people know where you started. And then, sorry, it's my scanner is very excited for some reason. You want to know where you started, your origin state, and then the direction and magnitude, like where you're going. And depending on how wide that span is, you have to really dig into an accessible, gritty origin story. You got to sit in the failure to establish trust, authenticity. And then it is important to land in some threshold of some threshold of success along that continuum. But for people to see you haven't made it, they'll see you're here, you're going here, and they're going to want to see you win. Like, I believe there's a genuinely large group of people within the medtech community on my LinkedIn that are going to just be over the moon happy when they see that I've landed a CTO job or a marketing role, or business picks up and I could be an all-in entrepreneurship and my family situated. I mean, I already felt that energy when we were able to land our own place based on what we were making from entrepreneurship, Amazon, my wife's part-time gig, in hustle. And when I get back into a role, there'll be that same win. When I step on this stage in many capacities, that is a win towards whatever that next is. So the conversation will probably be 60% humble origins, taking the failure plane back home, like letting people sit in the struggle of how far would you go in order to, like, all of the challenges, all the late nights, and to not have it be about me as the other challenge. But I do want to think about the successes and where those fit in this talk and how I frame that. And I think one of the first successes is just learning how to not care what other people thought about me and doing what was essential to serve my family so that I can establish a base to keep my business moving so that I could then again start to re-engage the global medtech community through my podcast, through curating incredible conversations, through sitting down with clinicians, which is going to happen soon. I think I'm about to close a really interesting deal with a very interesting company. I'm so excited about it. I hope that we could find the right price point and shake hands and like just start doing the work, because it's really good, compelling work. Like, I want to highlight those moments so that you have to give people some level of dopamine hit when you're telling a story. You need the hero's journey, but you can still land it. You can hit that resolution and still know that there's a little bit beyond it. End of Harry Potter, Voldemort gets murked. And, Harry Potter's like looking at the power in his hand with this wand, and he breaks it and throws it over the bridge. And then it leaves you with well, what's next? What unfolds beyond that grand challenge you navigated? And that's what I want to do with attendees of this conversation. I'm not going to share the ending during all of my rehearsals. There's something very interesting I want to do to pass it forward and elevate some other folks and their successes versus my own. I want to highlight mine. Like, mine will happen naturally; they'll get woven in. Because otherwise, if you have no successes, like, let's assume you are an utter failure at everything, which I don't believe anybody is, but let's assume that. If you have no successes, period, it is difficult for people to trust you, to see you as an authority in your context, to believe that you can help them in their journey. You need something there, whether it was the ability to integrate fatherhood and entrepreneurship while navigating extreme hardship. That's a success, even though it's in connection with the failure. I didn't know how to run a business, so I ran aground. I didn't know how to lead with revenue. I didn't know how to position and offer in my value. I didn't know how to connect into the right spaces. I didn't know how to attract leads. There's all the I didn't knows. And I took these crazy risks, and my family bore the consequence of that. That's a massive failure. But coming out on the other side, we are a more resilient, interconnected, globally minded family than I ever could have imagined. We're radically different people because of what we've gone through. The resiliency is hard earned. It can't be bought. Or we could look at the deals I'm attracting. Like, I was just looking through my DMs on LinkedIn. I have a backlog of DMs I can't reply to because there's just too much. And I say that in complete humility. Like, when you're starting a business, you have to figure out what's the highest leverage thing you can do. And a lot of times, if that's building a system that scales, or if you're leveraging content creation for leads, like a video or a post I make can go out and engage hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people, which can attract the DMs and the opportunities, versus perfectly following up with anyone who sends me a message, and setting up 30 minutes with them does not scale. So it means you get to a point where you have to start to make certain clientele wait until you have a full service business. So I'm in a season of making people wait sometimes 3 to 6 days to hear back from me. And people could label that as unprofessional. But the most professional thing I could do is build a business that scales, which means creating demand that I can't perfectly meet, which gives me pricing control, which then allows me to get leverage on my unique giftings and passions. But when you look at my DMs right now, my backlog, I think I have, it's not crazy, it's like 9 unresponded to DMs over multiple days. But these are like high quality leads. Some of these could be like $3,500 podcast guests. Some could be more. 2 of them are related to like a 40 and 60K bid for some brand collab over multiple months. But I have, like, there's scarcity associated with me. But anyway, when you look at these DMs, this is the success side. I'm rambling to myself. I'm trying to kind of speak an affirmation over myself. I went down the list, and the companies connected to each name is incredible. Like, you have Moon Surgical, you have Intuitive. Who was on it? Orca AI was a really interesting one. Agibot. Trying to visualize. Zimmer Biomed. Keep running the list. Who else is in there? There's a couple other folks that snuck in. Oh, the Mullings Group is on there as well, which is like the top headhunter in medtech. So like having the right people in your inbox is a massive success, and it took me a year and a half of straight failure to get it. Where now I'm being reached out by people specifically in my niche for opportunities that are, I heard this yesterday. Shoot, what is it called? It's not fun, lucrative. Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. There's a beautiful acronym about like two different kinds of clients. I think one was called like half, and the other one was called something. Elf. Elf, is that it? Yeah, elves. And the half was like hard, and I don't remember exactly. It was basically like clients that try to nickel and dime you and cut your costs, and they're difficult to work with, and they're cross bidding you with other people. And then the other clients are called elves, which is like easy, lucrative, and fun. And when you start to choose to work more with elves, and you have to get really great testimonials and great connections and the word of mouth to like get access to those kinds of clients, like put your focus in on them, deliver at a high value, and it generates a great return for you. I'm starting to attract elves, as weird as that sounds. And I don't know how to articulate how deeply meaningful that is after scraping away trying to find a path towards B2B, giving up on B2B's business to business, where I own a business selling to another business. There's just money moves differently in those spaces than B2C, which is business to customer, which would be like my paid community or doing coaching with a client, which I still love that kind of work. But I'm not doing coachings with a client who's like independently wealthy, at least not yet. That might be cool in the future. Like, it is so deeply meaningful after so many screw ups and so many late nights here at Amazon and so much doubt to just have people roll into my inbox, set up 2 calls, for those calls to be fun and energizing. And, for me to ask, like, well, how much did you pay these other 2 people to do this kind of blah, blah, blah? And they're like, oh, we didn't pay them. But like, because those people, they have their own business ventures. And he's like, but we'll definitely get something sorted with you. Even the keynote, negotiations for this keynote in Basel, Switzerland was really it was fun, and the way we set up the agreement, it should be lucrative for both groups. If I can drive enough traffic and people purchase tickets, and then I get an affiliate commission off of that. I also get upfront payment. I get a payment once I hit a certain threshold of sales, so it's like success based. Like, we were just excited to cut that deal between each other so that I can go all in on prepping this talk. And for me, when I look at the downstream success of this, like, I'm going to be centered within my niche. I say this humbly, as an expert in surgical robotics, but what I'm really trying to establish myself as an expert in innovation from the margins and lifting up historically marginalized voices within your R&D ecosystems, and to develop products and commercialize products in a way that's maybe dissonant with the status quo of how you've always done it, because there's probably a huge opportunity there that you're just missing because of process and the way it's always been. And that's going to be a massive success to be able to step on the stage, share this talk, and then connect with and attract those kinds of elves. So anyway, friend, thank you for being part of the journey. I'm trying to hold myself accountable to, despite imperfection, despite perfect timing or imperfect timing, get on camera, record, chat through the talk, record a piece of it, dry run it, sit down and write it. Doing it in Japanese, we would say ippo ippo, which is like step by step, and to bring you along in the journey. So if you appreciate this, feel free to repost it, feel free to share it within your network, and definitely come hang out with me in Switzerland. I will be doing a keynote on innovation from the margins. I'll be doing a workshop, which I think is limited to the first 100 people, on hitting zero and how to nurture this art of public failure and iterating in the open spaces, which is incredibly vulnerable and difficult. And then the third thing is a secret bonus for members who join through my link. Haven't figured it out yet. It'll probably be some kind of meetup, 5K run, walk experience. I'm still shaping it, but it'll be special. So let me know either in a DM or a comment that you purchase a ticket through the link, and keep changing the world. I'm going to get back to work, the Amazon work, and then this work, the fun work that I like.